Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Got a big day at work today, so I'll try to be brief. I always say I'll try to be brief. That I will try to be brief all the time. I see I had to block people early this morning, but that's okay. I say when, people come your way, that means you're doing, coming at you, you're doing the right thing. You're always doing the right thing. So just letting a few more people join this morning. Thank you so much early for the hearts. Thank you so much. Please share with your followers. Android up and down, iPhone left to right or right to left. Please take the time to share with your followers. So good morning, and those of you who are joining for the very first time, my name is Marquissa Williams. I'm the CEO and founder of Elevate Leadership Enterprises, all things leadership. My passion is to help leaders to provide leaders with tips, resources to encourage, to give you food for thought that will ultimately lead to your success. One of my themes or my mottos is that, elevate leadership. Good morning, Dr. Renee. Oh my gosh, I'm still singing the song that you sang the other day. Oh my gosh, in Him it is that we live, we move, and we have our being. We might as well not move at all if it's not in Him. Oh my goodness, you bless my soul. So sorry, I had to deviate from my introduction, but Dr. Renee really blessed me on Saturday. Oh my gosh, it was just amazing. So yes, so all things leadership. I'm just here to encourage, to empower, to help you all in your leadership journey, give you tips on your ministry success, your business success, and even personal development as well. So on today, for the month of May, actually, I'm going to do a series on growth, a growth series on how do we grow. And this series is really going to be taken from it's actually taken from a biblical text, a biblical foundation. So I'm going to put some practical truths to growth as it pertains to leadership. So it actually, if you want to know the scripture that is coming from, it's from Luke 2:5-2, and it's talking about how Jesus grew, and He grew in stature, He grew in wisdom, He grew with favor of God and with man. So good morning, Christine. Good morning, Erica. So so that's the text. If someone could type that in there, Luke 2:52. But the foundational principles is how do we grow, and who else better than to model how to grow but Jesus Himself. So Luke chapter 2 verses 52, how He grew in stature physically, how He grew in wisdom, how He grew in favor of God and with man. All right, so there are stages to, as a leader, we talk about it. We've been talking about it for several months about how we grow, how we continue to do that. And again, I'm taking this growth series from the example of Christ and how He grew, because again, He was also physically man. So there's some relative things, some things that we could take from that. So for this growth series, I want to take you through some of the same steps and some of the principles. Yes, Christine. So I recognize in order to be an effective leader, these are the steps necessary. Again, stature, we have to grow up. We have to be born. All those things have to take place, and then we have to move into the next stages. I thank you so much for the hearts early this morning. I'm excited about this topic. I wrestled with it. This series, I believe, is going to come, I want to turn this particular series, I believe, into an ebook that you can take away from and it'd be tangible for you to share with others as well. So for the first today, growing in stature. So I'm going to give you a few definitions, some defining points to level set where we're going. So growth, I looked up the definition of growth, and it says to undergo natural development by increasing in size and changing physically and progress to maturity. And the other definition for growth is to become larger or greater over a period of time. So no one wakes up, no one is born just grown. So it's a process. It's something that we grow into, right, over a period of time. So there's several areas that we're going to talk about in this growth series on growth. But today we're really going to concentrate on the physical of growth and what it means in general to grow. So then I looked up yes, Christine, the process. Absolutely, the process is a process to growing. And then I looked up the definition of stature. What is stature? So stature is quality or status gained by growth, development, or achievement. So again, this whole growth and stature process, it takes something. We cannot get to any kind of stature, any kind of success, anything without first growing. Without first growing. So it has to be something that happens or takes place for us to move to the next level. And the first stop is grow. The first stop, yes, is grow. So listen, we can't have any type of status unless we grow. So this is our growth series. Again, for those of you who are joining for the first time, my name is Marquissa Williams. I am the CEO and founder of Elevate Leadership Enterprises. Please follow with your, share with your followers these leadership lists. I believe they are going to be vital to your growth and knowledge and leadership. So physical growth. So you might be saying, so why are you talking to me about physical growth? I'm already grown. I stopped growing. I'm not getting any taller. I'm not getting, I'm not moving anymore. I'm where I'm going to be for the rest of my life as far as growth is concerned. So yes, you're you're physically grown. This is more about a reflective topic on how we started. How did we get to this point? When I think about my physical growth, when I was younger, I was always the tallest. I was always in the back of the line. I was always the tallest girl. Everybody said, oh, you're so tall, this, that, and the other. But as I grew, as time went on, let me just tell you how I found out that more people grew taller than I did. And now I'm probably the shortest. People say, Marquissa, you're a decent height, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm the shortest in my family. So when people see me in person, they think I have a good stature, a good height. But I am actually the shortest even in my household. My youngest daughter is actually taller than I am. So things could change. There's ebbs and flows into growth. But however, when we physically grow, we just stop where we're going to be. So so when I'm talking about growth today, I'm talking about, let's reflect on how we came about. All right. So in order to physically grow, we need a healthy environment, surroundings. We need healthy people, places, and things to help us to grow. This is your soil. So when I'm talking about our growth, I'm talking also about in the concept of growing like a plant as well. So physically, human, and also how the process of how plants grow, how things grow. So a healthy environment is typically our surroundings, people, places, and things. And that is really considered like our soil, where we were birthed, what we were planted in, what we were pushed down in. So some of us, I realize, have come from a not so healthy environment as well. And that's okay, rocky or full of weeds, if you will. However, there may have been people in our lives who may have been, who pulled us out of the weeds, so to speak, who pulled us up out of that unhealthy environment in order for us to survive, which, it brings me to my next point. So first we need a healthy environment. We need some form of environment. Sometimes it may be unhealthy, like I stated, but sometimes those people, places, and things, sometimes there's someone who influences us. They pull us up out of those weeds, that unhealthy environment in order for us to come healthy. When you think about it, who was your favorite teacher? That teacher that invested time in you? Who was that grandmother on the block who helped you and taught you how to, wear that dress appropriately, or not to, as for men, not to wear your pants hanging down? Who were those people in your environment to help shape you, to help mold you in the environment that you were in? So you also need loving and tender care. You need some nurturing. So when we grew up, it takes when we're born, our mothers, our caregivers, they had to give us milk. They had to give us all these things for us to physically grow up. When we look overseas in those the foreign countries where people are, they're malnourished, they never get to their full physical potential. Their height is stunted, their growth is stunted because they're not nourished, right? So those are some things just to level set, or just to show you where I'm going as far as our physical nurturing, our physical growth. We need nutrients. We need a good diet, right? So a while ago, I did a series on what are you eating? And the things that we consume, the things that we take in are detrimental to how we grow physically, as well as other areas. I'm trying not to go into the other topics because they do cross over, but I want to try my best to talk about how our physical growth, that environment that we need the nurturing, we need the right diet, we need, genetics, all those things play a part in how we physically grow. Our environment, the soil that we are actually planted in, helps us to move and to develop upward. No one necessarily develops downward physically, unless there was some major, catastrophic thing, people lose their limbs or, things like of that nature. So I moved around a lot when I was growing up. So I learned a lot about what to do, what not to do. Everyone, what I do appreciate about when I, physically growing up, people helped to just really invest in me. So the environment that I was in, I grew up in the hood, and I so much appreciate growing up in the hood because to me, that was where the family was. That's where everyone took care of each other. Everyone stood up for each other. Yes. Balance is, Ruth, we're talking about growth, and yes, and balance comes into play as well. We need a balanced diet to physically grow. Remember the 4 food groups, or the food groups chart. All those things we needed to actually physically grow. So no matter what your environment is, there is always an opportunity to grow and flourish. Growing can exist. Last week we talked about barriers to our success. And we wanted to eliminate making excuses on why we are not getting where we were, getting to our level of success or whatever that may be. But we talked about all those barriers. But I want us not to look at, I didn't have this growing up, I didn't have that growing up. The fact of the matter is, today, you are a grown adult human being, and you made it. And you are where you are supposed to be. So we talk about, that chapter, Luke 2:52, how Jesus grew in stature, he grew in wisdom, he grew in favor with God and with man. So we're talking about our physical growth and all the things that are key in our physical growth. So much like a plant, from the time we're born, we have experiences, we have exposure, is necessary for our physical stature. So much like a plant, we need soil, that's our foundation. We need sunlight, which is exposure, our surroundings, our environment, and we need the rain. Here in Philadelphia, we had rain for 13 days straight. Someone gave me the actual amount of days that we needed the rain. That we had rain, which was driving me crazy, by the way. But we need rain, we need sunlight, all those things for nutrients. So just much like a plant, we need soil for our foundation. We need sunlight we need some exposure, and we need rain, and we need other outside things for our nutrients. Welcome from London. Welcome. I hope that you're enjoying this scope this morning. So today, I just want to encourage you to think about your growth process as a leader. Think about how you, all those intricate things that help you to grow physically over the years to get you to this point of growth. I had watched this video. I wish it was a way for me to show you this video on Periscope. So maybe I'll show it to you on my fan page. But it was a video, Idris Elba, the actor, had shared this video about growth. And it was so profound. He had interviewed a few people, and he said, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? And almost everyone that he interviewed, yes, absolutely. Growth and progress leads to achievement, improvement, and success. Absolutely. You nailed it on the head, my friend from London. Absolutely. It takes all of that. It's a process. Growth is actually a process. So when Idris Elba had interviewed these people, and he asked them, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? They were all ages. They started laughing, you know, like, what do you mean? I'm already grown. And what he found in this interview is that, you know, when we grow up, there's something in us that tells us that we have stopped growing, that we have arrived in our lifetime. But he challenged them to say, well, not so. We grow. We should be continually growing in our life journey. Nothing says that we stop. Just because we get to a certain age, we get to a certain height, we get to a certain position in our career, we get into a certain position in our ministry, we just stop doing things to help us to grow. We feel that we are just right where we're supposed to be. There's nothing more for us. And he really challenged the thought, and he pressed them a little bit, and other people, as he challenged them, they said, well, you know what? This was a man, he probably was well in his 70s, and he said, you know, I always wanted to be an actor. And you know, there was a young lady who wanted to be a football coach. You know, yes, they were career people, but there were other things that they didn't think that they could do anymore because they were at this certain level. So I'm challenging you today to really consider that there is, although you are physically grown, there is still room for you to grow. It's still room for you to grow. And as we go through the series, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how we still can continue to follow our dreams, those things that we buried and we put, you know, we just been writing about in our journals, and we never look back at those dreams. I want to challenge you to dust those journals off, look at those things that you could still do. Just because now you are a preacher, or now you are a teacher, or now you are a manager or business owner, that's the end for you. It's not the end for you. There are still things that we could still do. There's still dreams that we could still live out in our adult life. So as leaders, we are still growing so that we could be effective to help others to grow. If we stop growing, we die. We stop growing, we wither away. So growth is the key. So thank you so much for the hearts. If you're liking what I'm saying, please share the heart, share the love, give your feedback. Is much appreciated. So that's really all I have to say today, is that we just don't stop here where we are. There's still room to grow. Remember, as I started in the beginning, Luke 2:52, we talked about how Jesus grew in stature, he grew in wisdom, he grew in favor with God and with man. So next week, we are going to talk about how do we grow as leaders in wisdom. So we talked about physical growth, all the things that can impact us, you know, our environment, how we grew up, who sowed into our lives, what soil we've been planted in, all of those wonderful things, or not so wonderful things, because guess what? Some of the negative things that we experienced when we grew up, or, you know, stunted our growth, helped us to be the people that we want to be. You know, some people who, you know, who are in finances, some people experienced that they were poor growing up, and they vowed to be financially good stewards, and they wanted to show other people how to manage their money so they won't be poor. All those things tie into our growth. So again, we talked about physically growing, how are we growing, and reflecting on how what it took for us to physically grow. So again, that is this morning's leadership lift this morning. And this will be our growth series. This is part 1. How do we grow in stature? and what it takes. So I know that some people are just joining. Please feel free to go back to the replay. It is on Periscope for 24 hours. I also do place my scopes onto YouTube as well. They're unedited. However, you could go to my YouTube page just by simply typing in my name, which is Marquissa Williams, and you will find all of my leadership lifts from day one. I think I may have had about 40 or so leadership lifts on various topics. So take a look onto my YouTube page. So again, my name is Marquissa Williams. I am the CEO and founder of Elevate Leadership Enterprises. You can find more information about what I have to offer as far as workshops, consultations, team building, all of that. You can go right to my website, which is marquissawilliams.com. And also, if you haven't done so already, you can sign up for my free ebook, which is 5 Things Anyone Leading Anything Should Know. 5 Things Anyone Leading Anything Should Know. And then you will also have access to my Monday morning leadership list. My newsletters as well. The next newsletter will be coming out either tonight or within the next few days. I'm just trying to time it and do some editing before I publish it. But stay in contact with me. Share with your followers these leadership lists. I do think that they are a blessing. They actually stretch me as well as and remind me of some key things also. So again, have a wonderful Monday. Remember that it is never too late to continue to grow. You are not you're not where you are. Your physical growth, your career doesn't dictate that you're right where you're supposed to be. There's always opportunities to grow. Continue to grow, continue to focus, continue to be nurtured. Have a wonderful and great day.